sense. But we can just do a high level of it, and then you know,
Right.
depending on what Aaron says, maybe we'll come back to it. All right, let me pull up this one, and we'll just start again. All right. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So George, this is a question that you suggested we talk about today, and let me just go ahead and throw it up real quick. This question comes to us from Olivier, and the title is PureCloud NON-ACD Call to be rerouted skill-based to another agent. Olivier, very professionally, George, asks, Dear community, I need your help on the following business requirement. In the context of a personalization strategy, business is communicating to its customers the direct phone numbers of the agents in charge of specific case management. Stay with me. Business wants that if the agents are not available, the direct calls are routed to other agents with the same skill set as the initial targeted ones. Actually, the non-ACD calls of PureCloud are routed to voicemail if the agents are not responding or not available, which is not an option for the business. Any idea on how to do this with PureCloud? George, naturally I want you to help Olivier with his question, but before we get there, I want you to help me with the question that I have. And maybe some other users are curious also. What is a non-ACD?
Yeah, the concept of ACD versus non-ACD would be calls or interactions that come into the system can be routed to people in various ways. One way is ACD, automatic call distribution, which also can be used for emails, chats, messages, other things. And that takes advantage of the calculations in the background that PureCloud does when an interaction comes in usually through PureCloud Architect and transferred to ACD, which means that the system is automatically going to calculate, based on a number of different factors, which person within a specific queue, which member of a queue is supposed to receive that particular interaction. It's going to automatically decide based upon skills, based upon how long the person has been available, different things. As opposed to non-ACD, which means that call comes in and it will probably flow through Architect, but within Architect, someone might dial an extension and be transferred directly to a person within the company. That's a non-ACD call because we've not taken advantage of that ACD subsystem to calculate who should get the call. You know, I call in, I know I want to talk to Matt Lawson. So when I get to the main menu, I just speak the name, Matt Lawson, and it transfers me to you because we're just going right to a person. That's non-ACD because we're not doing any weird calculations to figure out which Matt Lawson to get it to.
Got it.
It's like, I'm going straight to you, buddy. I don't want to talk to anybody else.
Bring it.
Other than that, it might be I call in and we've got a community queue and there's several people in the community team and I just get transferred to whichever one of you is the best match for, I said I wanted to talk about ACD and you have the ACD skill, so it might route to you because it picked you out of the group, something like that.
Got it. All right, cool. Well, what advice do you have for Olivier? And I understand you might have something that you want to share on your screen, correct?
Yeah, I did a little bit of setup in the background already with kind of the suggested solution I gave on the community. It's something that a number of people have done, so I figured I might as well show a little bit of how it might look in the real world, well, in my little test world.
I have stopped my share, and I'm going to let you take it over.
All righty. See if I can pick the right screen.
Yep. And I'll keep an eye to make sure we're still recording. Looks like we're good.
All righty.
Go for it.
So there are several different facets to what we might do. And the suggestion I gave is that we might take advantage of what's called bullseye routing within that ACD or automatic call distribution framework. we have several ways we can route calls to people. One of the ways is called bullseye routing, where we have a specific person or persons in mind when the call comes in, but if that person's not available, we'll open it up to route to other people who have similar skills. Kind of what was described in that question. So real quick look at bullseye, and there is bullseye routing is described here in the resource center. I'm not going to go too far into that. I'm just going to show that it's here. You can see bullseye is coming from the idea of a target. The center ring is where you want to hit, and then maybe you'd go to the second ring, third ring, whatever. If you don't quite hit the bullseye, you're getting close. We want to be in the middle, but we'll accept a little bit further out. So I've got a queue set up to receive the interactions. So all the calls that need to get to the right person are actually going to go through the same ACD queue. And I just named it bullseye to keep it simple. I've got all these people within this queue, and then you'll notice this bullseye ring number. So I put all these people in the center ring. Each one of these agents actually handles a different customer within that definition. So Cheryl might be designated to handle customer 1, and Deidre might be designated to handle customer 2, and so on. So they're designated over here, bullseye ring number. These are the primary people we want to reach for a specific customer. They're all on ring number 1. Then I also had to set up the phone numbers that people are going to be calling, because in this situation, we're handing out the phone number of the agent assigned to that particular customer's case. In the question, it was more, okay, I give the direct phone number to that agent. And when somebody calls in, they go directly to the agent, but then it rolls to voicemail if that person's not available. Not what we want. So I'm actually going to play a little bit of a smoke screen here, and I'm giving out a phone number which does not go directly to the agent, but it looks like it does, because when somebody calls the phone number, if that agent's available, it's going to go right to that person automatically. So I had to go over, and in my routing side, I had to set up call routing, and I've got some phone numbers set up. I'm going to have to set up for bullseye. And basically, I would put in all the phone numbers that I'm handing out to customers here. And I'm just going to set up one of them for the moment, but I would set up however many phone numbers that I'm giving out. Let's say I've got 6 different phone numbers I'm going to send out. I'd have 2001, 2002, and so on, set up as the addresses are coming inbound. And then they're always going to go to this bullseye queue. I set up that queue. This bullseye is a flow in Architect that's then going to route to this queue. Trying to make this real simple and quick. So I'm setting up the phone numbers that I'm handing out to go into a specific flow in Architect. So I'd save that. And then over in Architect, I've got this flow set up, and I don't have the whole thing filled out right now. This is just to give an example of what we would do. But when a call comes in, starts off, and I mentioned as a starting task, which takes over right away when the call comes into this flow. And this starting task just says, please wait while we're trying to connect you to your agent, make it personalized. We don't name the agent, but we're making it your agent. And then we get into this task, which has a selection action within it. And I'm setting up an expression on each one of these. So if the number that they called matches one of those numbers, that I handed out, in this case, 2001, that's the one I just entered. The called address original, that's the number they originally dialed to get to our system. Then I'm going to transfer it to ACD, and I'm going to assign the skill for that customer. So customer 1, for example, and then the other skills that go with it. This customer calls in, in their case, handles Linux and marketing skills or whatever. So I'm assigning 3 skills to this interaction as it comes in and gets transferred. And then I do that for all these others as well. I've got 6 different customers, so I've got 5 cases plus the default. Customer 1, customer 2, customer 3, 4, 5, 6. They'd all go to the same ACD queue, but each one would have customer 1 skill, customer 2 skill, customer 3 skill, plus the Linux and marketing skill. So all of them have basically the same secondary skills, a different primary skill for the customer. Back over here in the bullseye setup, once it hits this queue, so it goes through that flow, and then within the queue routing setup, got this bullseye queue with each of those members. Once again, in the bullseye setup, I've got it set up to match all the skills. So when a call comes in, it's going to have skills assigned. The agents are going to have the skills that are assigned to that call. When it first comes in, it's going to route to an agent that has those 2 other skills, Linux and marketing, plus the customer skill that was assigned. So only one of the agents in this queue is going to have the same customer skill as the call. All of them are going to have the other 2 skills. If that agent that has the customer skills is available, great, they get the call immediately. It just routes right to them. If that agent is not on queue, not available for some reason, then it's going to wait, in this case, for 12 seconds, just in case that person comes available. And then it's going to roll into the second ring. It's going to strip off the customer skill. So when it strips off that customer skill, now the call just has the Linux and Windows skills left on it. So any other agent that has those 2 skills is going to be allowed to answer that call. So hopefully one of those other 5 agents is available. If nobody's available, then it just sits there and waits in queue until somebody comes available. But we tried for the center, didn't get it. Now we open it up to the other agents. One of the other agents who has the same skills can answer it. That's kind of the way a lot of people do this using bullseye routing.
Cool.
If that makes sense.
Actually, yeah, to me, it made sense, which is quite odd in these sessions that we've been sharing with each other. Cool. Olivier, we hope that walkthrough was valuable. I know that was a bit of a deep dive, but we definitely hope it helped and that you can meet the business requirements that you're looking for. George, thank you so much for sharing that with us.